Things I would never do as an organic gardener. Number one, water my plants with city tap water. You see, the tap water in our city is loaded with all types of chemicals, and it destroys the bacteria inside of our soil, just like it would destroy the bacteria on our skin if we were to bathe in it. The main reason why is chlorine. But another reason why is chloramine, which is a different chemical they're now putting in the water that's different than chlorine. It stays inside the water for longer periods of time. Whereas in the past, you could pour water into a bucket and the chlorine would off gas. Chloramine does not off gas. So you actually have to get a special type of filtration, usually a type of carbon filtration, an active or PDF style activated carbon filter to get the chloramine and the chlorine out. It's a little bit pricier, but it's something that I highly suggest. Now, there's other chemicals inside the tap water besides the chloramine and the chlorine. However, this is the most important chemical that we want to get out of the water because it disturbs the soil food web, the bacteria. It destroys it all. If you want to do other types of filtration, you can, but at the end of the day, most of us are only going to be able to afford to do a carbon filtration and using something that will get the chlorine and chloramine out. Now, carbon gets other things out too, but there's also other contaminants inside tap water I'm not going to go into here that we probably want to get out. Even though I have resources available to me to be able to create a massive filtration system, the only solution I've found to be able to get all the contaminants out of the water is an RO system. And if you have a small, medium to large size garden, getting a massive RO system would cost anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000, and that would waste a ton of water. So another solution is rainwater.
They're spraying stuff in the sky, Charlie. You can't be telling them to use rainwater. There's aluminum and rhodium and all types of chemicals that we don't even know about.
This is true as well. Now, you can run rainwater through a filtration system, and that will help. But that is a more complex system, and most of us aren't going to do that. So at the end of the day, using rainwater is a great solution, especially if you're not filtering any of your city water. The second thing that I would never do is buy bottled salt-based fertilizers, or really even organic fertilizers. Why, might you ask?
They didn't ask why,
I'm going to tell you anyways, because you really need to know this. If we're buying salt-based fertilizers, we're supporting the industrial farming complex that's destroyed our food and destroyed our soil, right? And it's not so much that they've destroyed our food, they destroyed our soil through their practice of using chemical agriculture and tilling because they're looking at symptoms instead of actually addressing the root cause. And by buying these salt-based fertilizers, we're supporting them. Now, a lot of people just don't know what to buy. So they'll even go out and maybe step it up and buy organic fertilizers. And even though I think this is a better option, this isn't the option that I would actually take, because I believe the future of organic food really falls on us because no one else is doing it on a massive scale, and if they are doing it on a massive scale, they're still doing what's called input gardening. What the hell does that mean? Well, they're buying things for their garden. There's ways that you can create fertilizers from your own land, even if you live on like a 1/16 of an acre. Because you can go out and you can get indigenous microbes from maybe a forested area in your ecosystem, maybe not on your property, but somewhere around your property. You can bring those microbes in and you can use those to digest any types of plants or even food scraps. You can use this as your fertilizer solution because this is a more economical, sustainable, and an efficient way to fertilize your plants, because now you're giving your plants exactly what they need. Let me give you an example. You're growing a tomato plant. Say you grow some tomato plants. Not all of them come out well. And say you get some of those plants to fruit. Some of those fruits don't come out well. So instead of taking those plants and ignoring them or trashing them or composting them, which is a great solution, you can actually take these plants and add them to a bucket of rainwater with microbes and let those sit, and those nutrients from those plants and those fruits that you were going to throw away and put in your compost pile can now be broken down into a liquid fertilizer. This is known as zero input gardening. And yes, it takes a little bit more time, but you're able to produce thousands of dollars of fertilizers for pennies, and you're capitalizing on your loss. So when you have a tomato plant or any type of plant that doesn't grow well, instead of looking at it like a defeat, it's like, okay, no, this is what we're going to turn into fertilizer. So this is a great solution for everyone, and I believe this is the future of organic farming, because if we can produce organic food cheaper than conventional food, now we're on to something. Now we can actually feed the world. These are solutions that are more sustainable and economical, and they also, in my opinion, create more microbial diversity in the soil, and they also give the plants exactly what they need because it's a liquid-based fertilizer. Number 3, getting a standard soil test. I would highly suggest against this. Is because they're typically only going to test for N, P, and K. And as we know, plants need way more than nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. What I would suggest is getting what's known as an Albrecht mineral analysis of your soil so that you can dial in the exact minerals needed by your soil. Because if you can add the right minerals to your soil and microbial life, then magic will happen and your soil will naturally restore and regenerate itself. Many of us that are going to try to start growing food are going to have to fight against the broken soil that's in our ecosystem. We're having to fight against what they're spraying in the sky. We're having to fight against maybe not having the best water ever. So when we have all these factors fighting against us, creating soil fertility and allowing plants to do what they naturally want to do, we have to take certain measures. And one of those measures is figuring out what minerals are deficient in our soil and then what minerals that we need to add back to our soil so that we can actually start to create soil fertility. Number 4, I would never buy hybridized seed stock. And yes, some seed stock that's hybridized is organic. I would look for heirloom seed stock. And there's many reasons why, but the main reason why is because of diversity. Many types of beans, corn, tomatoes have existed in the heirloom seed stock realm, or way back when, if you will.
Way back when, yeah, you know, grandma's tomatoes, they're not the same as what you'd buy in the seed stock there, buddy.
At the end of the day, when we go back to how our grandparents grew food, they kept their own seeds, which is what I always suggest. But this is way easier said than done. So many of us are going to buy seed, but by buying these hybridized seed stocks, we're limiting the different varieties of different plants, fruits, and vegetables that once existed. By supporting heirloom seed stock, we're able to kind of keep those varieties going because the companies that are providing us heirloom seed stock, they're responsible for producing heirloom seed stock. So by supporting them, we're able to support the diversity of fruits, vegetables for us to all eat. Typically, what you see in hybridized seed stock is you see very few varieties. And you see most market gardeners and most organic gardeners for production producing these plants because, well, they're bigger. They're this, they're that. They have these specific attributes that make them more money. But at the end of the day, maybe not nutrient density. And the reason I can say this is because I've worked with the Biofood Nutrient Association and I've seen them test certain fruits and vegetables, and it seems to show that the heirloom seed stock varieties have the potential to have more nutrient density inside of them than the hybridized varieties. The other thing that I'd like to bring up is that these heirloom varieties, again, they're creating more diversity in our food supply. So by being able to have all different types of tomatoes, all different types of squash, all different types of melons, all different types of berries, all different types of fruit trees, we're able to diversify the varieties that exist. And by supporting the hybridized varieties, we're creating what I almost look at as frankenfood. I mean, imagine if we were hybridized.
We are hybridized. We were hybridized from aliens. You don't understand how it all worked. They came down and they inseminated with the whatever, and then here we are, and we're hybrid.
At the end of the day, we want to support what grandma and grandpa were doing, saving their seed, and those seeds came from heirloom varieties. Many heirloom varieties have been around since the 1800s. Hybrid varieties are just now showing up, and they're even doing things like putting clay pellets around seed stock, and they're adding coloring around that. And I just wonder, what is that really doing to our seed stock? I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying I wouldn't do it, and just something don't smell right to me. All right, guys, that's the 4 things that I would never do as an organic gardener. I hope you liked this video, and if you have any questions or comments, please put them down. And if I'm wrong about something, let me know. So if someone can point something out to me, help shed light on a subject, and we can have a healthy, coalesced communication, then I am totally down to learn some more. And that's exactly why I wanted to produce this content, to help you guys learn from my mistakes in gardening and also all the research that I have found over the 15 years of being involved in organic gardening and farming. My name is Charles Barber, and I hope this video sheds some light for some people and help people create a better strategy going into gardening this year. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.